I'm going to introduce Josh Holstein, the founder and CEO of Accelerator, who is the lead mentor for one of our companies. But before I ask Josh to join us on stage, I want to give you a little bit of a primer on Josh. I first met him a little bit over 4 years ago, and he's laughing because he's nervous. But the reason that this was such a great fit was Josh started a technology company from the ground up and has worked through the process that many of our organizations are going through now. He's participated in Accelerator. He's one of the first companies in the eFactory, and I can honestly say that we have learned as much from his process as he has learned from ours. But with that, I would welcome Josh up to introduce our first company in our cohort.
Wow. I didn't expect that. So I really was honored to be asked back as a mentor for this program. But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure if I had enough time to devote what I felt was necessary for the program. And I told Brian and Rachel that at the time, and Rachel said, you might want to wait till you meet Hector. You might change your mind on that. And so I met Hector later on that day, and that all went out the window, pretty much. Hector brings in this notebook that had chicken scratch in it, pretty much, with this idea. And I thought, man, this guy must be special to be able to receive $30,000 of investment with just an idea on a piece of paper. So a little bit longer talking with him, I knew exactly why he became part of the program. The drive and the passion that he had was oozing from him, pretty much. And it reminded me a whole lot of whenever I started Accelerator. So like Brian said, I've been through an Accelerator, and I know exactly what Hector's gone through over the last 3 months. Sorry, my hair, or lack thereof, is shining on you. But I've been through an Accelerator, and so I know exactly what he's been through the last 3 months with a family, with a full-time job, and being able to take an idea on a piece of paper to the product stage and into the business stage now with active clients and active users is an enormous accomplishment. So please welcome to the stage Hector Cruz with Let's Do Lunch.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. The office, anybody? Yeah? Good. Well, good morning. Thanks, Josh, so much for your mentorship and your leadership through this program. We would not be up here without it, honestly. So appreciate your mentorship, but even more so for your friendship. It means a lot. Also, two people that Rachel didn't thank in her introduction that we have to thank, leaders of the Accelerator program, Rachel and Brian. So on behalf, yeah, absolutely. On behalf of the rest of the companies, we want to say thank you. You've been our babysitters for the last 12 weeks, and we appreciate it. Good morning. My name is Hector Cruz with Let's Do Lunch. Let's Do Lunch is a mobile application that serves as a personal assistant to help you be more intentional and organized with the relationships that are important to you. Our goal is to use technology to get you out from behind a screen and face-to-face with people. Because screens are great, but faces are better. 166 days ago, I was laying in a hospital room. I had my newborn daughter, Selah, laying on my chest, and I had my laptop on my lap. I was finishing the application to the Accelerator program for the eFactory. Yeah, it felt a little insane, but thanks to the enduring support from my wife, not you, Dan, behind a little bit, we've been able to make it through these last 12 weeks relatively unscathed. And it's hard to believe, as Josh mentioned, that just 12 weeks ago, all we had were some chicken scratch on some wireframe templates that showed how we thought the app should look and how we thought the app should work. But thanks to this Accelerator program, the connections, the resources, the people, we're just a few minutes away from some very exciting announcements that we get to share today. As a capital campaign manager at Evangel University, I'm helping manage a campaign of $40 million. Before that, I worked with over 5,000 students and families through the admissions, recruiting, and financial aid process. So I understand how important it is to build deep and meaningful relationships and how those relationships can and should be mutually beneficial. We use industry-leading software for our customer relationship management tools at Evangel from companies like Blackbaud and Salesforce and Outlook for scheduling. But I was unsatisfied with the mobile application experience, and I thought, there's got to be a better way. Now, I'm not a big fan of the term networking and the pejorative feelings typically associated with it. I'm a much bigger fan of relationship building and adding depth to those meaningful relationships, especially when there's food involved. And my friends at Evangel can certainly agree with that. So, I decided to put out a survey to see what other people's experiences were. I wanted to know about their lunch habits. I wanted to know how they use their lunch hours. And overwhelmingly, the majority had a similar experience that I did. And so with those survey results, along with the encouragement and support from my leadership at Evangel, we set out to build a mobile tool that would help us enhance and add depth to those important relationships, and a tool that we could start using right away. So what if you had a personal assistant solely dedicated to making sure you intentionally invested in the relationships that were important to you? A personal assistant that made it simple and easy to follow up with somebody with the click of a button. You open the app, you select the contact, and you're done. The app guides you and prompts you through the rest of the process. Or a personal assistant that helped you track notes and action items so that you could intentionally manage that relationship and even reminded you when it was time to follow up with them, kind of like a mini personal CRM. Or maybe soon, a personal assistant that recommended people to grab lunch with based on upcoming out-of-town meetings on your calendar. Or maybe it sent you a brief bio automatically before the first time you had lunch with somebody. Or maybe it just helped you pay and track the receipts for you. What if you had a personal assistant solely dedicated to making sure that you intentionally invested in those relationships? Because we all know anything meaningful in life revolves around relationships. Now, as a restaurant owner, imagine that you could be listed top of mind at the point of decision for a potential customer. That's the platform that Let's Do Lunch provides. Users are trying to decide where they want to go eat, and restaurants can join with us to be listed front and center as they're making that important decision. And these are just a few of the restaurants who have already joined us in that effort. So for users and restaurants, that's what Let's Do Lunch is all about. We envision a world where relationships are intentionally developed so that customers are better served, clients are better understood, and friendships are deeper and more meaningful. So if that's our vision, why am I so bad at following up with somebody when I say to them, let's do lunch, right? Quick poll. How many in here have ever run into somebody and said, let's do lunch? Yeah, and how many in here are experts at following up every single time? If your hand is up, you need to come talk to me after, because I need to learn from you. 85% of the people in our survey have had the same exact experience. And I believe it comes down to two main reasons. Number one, we're incredibly busy. We have meetings stacked up 2 and 3 deep on our calendars. We have deadlines that are coming and going. It feels impossible to even think about adding anything else to the mix. And number two, we're incredibly distracted. We have so many distractions vying for our attention each and every day, keeping us from focusing on and following through with those things in our lives that are really the most important. It's exhausting. I mean, imagine you're walking through the store, you run into somebody, and you're trying to remember to follow up, and your son says the magic phrase, I need to go potty. Talk about a distraction. But regardless of how busy and distracted we are, the statistics show that we literally cannot afford to neglect those important relationships. In a survey by Constant Contact, 48% of respondents believed that in-person meetings were a bigger driver of business than the website or email marketing. A study by MIT showed that people who met face-to-face came up with 30% more creative ideas than compared to other methods of meeting. And a study by UCLA showed that 93% of communication effectiveness is determined by nonverbal communication. So all that to say, being face-to-face is fundamentally important to our success, both personally and professionally. Companies know this, and they're investing big dollars trying to facilitate these types of interactions. This year, the amount spent on customer relationship management tools is projected to be $37 billion. Now, you may or may not know, Springfield is in the top 10 in the country in restaurants per capita. We love our restaurants, so it may not come as a surprise. Last year, in 2016, the amount spent on food away from home in Springfield was $147 million. In Missouri, it was $6.5 billion. And in the United States, it was $377 billion. So, based on our survey, people want to invest in relationships. People are spending money to eat out, and people are spending money on customer relationship management tools. Let's Do Lunch combines all three into one effective tool that benefits you. So for users, the app will be free, and as we develop our user base, we plan to monetize through restaurant advertisements, in-app advertisements, monthly subscription models, premium versions, and aggregated data mining. As we launch, we're continuing to explore other monetization strategies so that we can diversify our revenue streams. It's been a busy 3 months. We've had hundreds of people join us as beta testers on the app, and so many of you spend meaningful time with us as well. We're excited to share these announcements today. And so with that, I am very proud and excited to announce that Let's Do Lunch is now live on both Google Play and the App Store. And after just recently launching, we already have over 150 downloads, and most exciting to me, we have over 350 interactions facilitated through the Let's Do Lunch app already. Again, these are just a few of the awesome restaurants that have joined with us as we launch. And so if everyone would please take out your phone, text lunch to 99724, and download the Let's Do Lunch app right now. Together, we can continue to add meaningful depth to the relationships that are important to us so that we can maximize our success both personally and professionally. If you're interested, I would love to learn more about you and how we can collaborate to solve each other's greatest challenges. So please, after this, come by the booth, find me, and let's do lunch. Thank you.